Hello and welcome to Café New Canadians. Café New Canadians is a virtual chat series where every week we bring topic that matters to immigrants, students, newcomers to Canada, or all those who are planning to come to Canada. Today's topic is immigrants' journey to success, and we are talking to a great panel of Arab community settled in Canada, and we'll ask what were their experience and lots of good things about Canada, what they experience and all. So we'll start the session. As you know, that Café New Canadians is brought to you by New Canadians, a TV and web show that features immigrant-focused information and resources. You can find us on our website, newcanadians.tv. You can find us on YouTube, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/newcanadians. And also, for all those who are joined us from Canada, you can watch us on Omni Television. We air every week episodes on Omni Television. And my name is Sherdal Khan, and I am going to moderate today's session. So first of all, we'll start with the introductions. First of all, we'll go one-on-one session with Jad Attal. He is the Director of Research and Policy at Canadian Arab Institute, CAI. Thank you so much, Jad, for joining us. And we have a great panel. Following up this one-on-one session, we'll start the panel discussion. And for that, allow me to introduce our great panel today. As you know, Dr. Dalia Mustafa has joined us. And she is a professional certified master life coach and president and CEO of Canadian Life Transformation Academy. And along with Dalia, we have Umar Hussain, who is a connector and social entrepreneur in workforce development. Joining us, Ruba Al-Nazir. She is social impact and community investment strategist. Also, Ibtisam Rashidi has also joined us. She is an experienced IT professional and director at ITBC. And last but not the least, we have Noha Rabi, early childhood educator and ASD strategist. She's also joining us. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us in today's session. As want to let our audience know again that this session is about Arab community settled in Canada. We'll be talking to them and we'll be asking them what were their experience and all the tips and tricks of the trade. So again, I welcome you all. First of all, we'll go with Jad Attal. Jad, how are you?
Hi, Sherdal. Hi, everyone. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining. So we'll start with the one-on-one session with you because you have a lot to say about settlement in Canada. So first of all, tell us about your organization and how this organization helps people from Arab community coming to Canada or planning to come to Canada.
Sure. I represent the Canadian Arab Institute. We are a small think and do tank based in Toronto, but we operate on a national scale. Essentially, what we do is we try to understand what the issues and interests are of the Arab community in Canada, and then we package that and communicate that to the governments of Canada, different provincial and the federal governments and municipal, as well as informing non-Arab Canadians what the Arab Canadian experience is really like. So that's in a nutshell what we do today. What I'll be speaking to mostly is the general experience of Arab immigrants in Canada when it comes to the research lens and how policies lead them to success or failures.
Wonderful. And for all the audience who have joined us through Zoom or through YouTube, but do send us your questions. And there are some general questions regarding settlement in Canada, regarding employment, jobs. So it's not limited to just Arab community, but overall, if you have any questions, do send us your questions. So Jad, one more thing, I would like to ask you. How can people reach out to you if somebody is watching us from Middle East and they are planning to come to Canada? So how you reach to them, or they can reach you?
For sure. So they can reach out and they can look at our website, CanadianArabInstitute.org, on Instagram, Twitter, social media, and Facebook as well, Canadian Arab Institute, CAI. We're active on all our different platforms. And as well, something that you said really importantly, Sherdal, is it's even though our mandate is the Arab community, we have a lot of partnerships with other organizations from other communities. And it's really important to have that solidarity between all different immigrant communities here in Canada.
Wonderful. And what was your experience in terms of taking care of all the Arab community, all their questions and their experiences, and what they were feeling before coming to Canada, and how your organization helped them settle down here?
So in general, when immigrants get the landing status and they come to Canada, they usually have a sense of hope, especially coming from countries in the Middle East when a decent life isn't afforded anymore and offered, then Canada is seen as such a safe haven. But one thing that I like to always say is, for every success story we hear of an Arab immigrant. So for example, Mohammed Faqih, CEO of Paramount, the Shaib brothers who own Adonis, the supermarket, Tariq Hadhad in Nova Scotia, who is a Syrian refugee. All these success stories are amazing, but for every single one of them, we know of 10 to 20 Arabs who are suffering and who are falling through the cracks in Canada because of this lack of integration that is occurring in the country. And all of that, for me and for what I see, is a policy failure. Governments here in Canada need to be a little bit more responsible in making sure that Arabs, and of course non-Arab immigrants, are able to succeed here in Canada, whether it's professionally, socially, culturally, economically. And unfortunately, that isn't necessarily the case for a lot of immigrants, actually. Arab immigrants specifically have one of the highest education rates in terms of higher education diplomas, degrees, but they don't necessarily find the opportunities here because of the different regulations of different professions who don't recognize degrees from back home, who don't recognize experience from back home. So it's really difficult for immigrants to really integrate economically. And that decent life that they were trying to look for in Canada when they left the Middle East, they can't even find it here either. So that's the main issue that I see.
So what do you suggest? Should all the immigrants who are planning to come to Canada from Arab countries should prepare themselves regarding all the things that you have mentioned, so that they can easily get settled down in Canada after landing here?
Absolutely. So again, it's tough because Canada is seen as such a safe haven. Even my cousins in Lebanon who would love to immigrate to Canada see it as this like land of opportunities. But unfortunately, the reality needs to sit in a little bit to realize that it isn't necessarily all that at this point. We're trying to change that at the Canadian Arab Institute. We're trying to change all these different community organizations. We're trying to assist. But the reality is that it is a little bit tougher than what is expected. I wouldn't say don't come here. Of course, come here and try to change your life, get the citizenship. I know the idea of citizenship is really, really important. But Sherdo, something that blows my mind is that around 30% of Arabs who get their citizenship end up moving back home afterwards because they can't integrate here economically or socially. So that's a lot of human capital and talent that Canada is losing. So come here for sure, by all means. Try to integrate, but realize that there's a little bit more hard work than just a land of opportunities.
And this is not limited to just one province. These services are available across Canada.
Yeah, 100%. Quebec, Ontario, and Alberta have the highest number of Arab immigrants, but as well, you can find Arabs literally anywhere, even in the territories.
Wonderful. So now we'll open the panel discussion again. Welcome you all. And Jad, if you can, you feel free to discuss this with each other. Just answer the questions which we will receive, and talk to each other regarding your experiences as well. So we'll start with Dr. Dalia Mustafa. Dr. Dalia, again, thank you so much for joining. So what was your experience coming to Canada? And also introduce a little bit yourself about yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, Sherda. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you today. I'm Dr. Dalia Mustafa, a nature lover. Apparently, that's why I'm in Alberta, right, in the Rockies. I'm so passionate about serving community and about really working on parenting counseling, marriage counseling, helping the youth, the little ones, really integrate and blend. I'm a very firm advocate that everyone immigrant should really hold on to their identity, but should also integrate and blend and serve at a larger scale the beautiful Canada as well as their homeland. So my specialization, I do have a degree in engineering and a master's degree in engineering. I started a PhD in engineering, and then I got an amazing job offer in oil and gas in Alberta. And I switched my PhD from engineering to leadership policy and change. So I did succeed actually to work in Canada with my degree in engineering. I remember even I got my first job offer. I was still at the very early beginning on my PhD, and it was based on my master's thesis in Egypt. I'm a proud Egyptian Canadian. And then when I moved to Canada and I worked on the oil and gas for 5 years, I started escalated until I became team lead for reliability and engineering. I realized that all my work is basically coaching my team members. At the university, I used to teach at McGill University as well. I also was coaching my students. So I decided to go for a PhD in leadership policy and change with a focus in counseling psychology. Today, I have my private practice, the Canadian Life Transformation Academy. It does serve the community on several facets. It provides one-on-one sessions for individuals to treat anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, marriage problem, parental issues, problems that teenagers are going through, suicidal, etc. And it also has a very prominent role in prevention rather than intervention. And this is through courses. Yeah, and we do.
And those are the very important aspects that we can discuss because everyone right now in this circumstances do feel some of the things that you mentioned, and it is very important to get the help. So we'll talk about this later. Omar, again, thank you so much for joining. So my question from you would be, how was your journey coming to Canada, and were you able to get all the resources, especially provided for Arab community, or you just explode yourself and get yourself in employment and all the fields that you are associated with?
Thank you, Cherdar, for having us and for this opportunity to speak about our journeys. So I think I kind of try to mainly focus on what are the main challenges that I've faced as a newcomer. I've been in Canada for the last 2 years or so. I think they will boil down to 3 main challenges. I think one of which is identifying the right immigrant service providers in a given region. I think it's really hard to navigate when you have many immigrant serving organizations, and who you should deal with, and how can you navigate this system. I think we can discuss this later, but I think this is part of the problem. Secondly is access to professional network. I think it's really it's the most support that every new immigrant would be needing. And the third is learning more about the local community where we live. So I think these 3 challenges were the biggest highlight, if I may, in my first few months in Canada.
Wonderful. So Ruba, what was your experience, and also is it beneficial if you have a good presence of the community that you belong from, or sometimes it's difficult to find the exact or actual match to your professional background from the country of origin?
Very good question. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having us today. And we look forward to the discussion with everyone. I arrived here in 2013, but I actually was in Montreal first. I moved to Montreal first, and I was fortunate enough. I didn't know many people, but then one person in the Arab community somehow introduces you to five, and those five introduce you to a 10, and then all of a sudden you're speaking Arabic more than you're speaking. Well, I didn't speak any French, but but definitely spoke more Arabic than English there. But that was, and everyone is always so willing to help and so willing to support and open doors for you. And I took that upon me, that when I reached a better place or a space, that I would also be able to do the same thing for other people. So moving to Toronto, it was really more of the same. You network, you find people, all you need to do is really find one or two wonderful people or human beings who will introduce you to more and more and more and more. My field of experience was a little different from what I used to do in Jordan before coming here. But then the network and the support really open doors for you and connections. And
Yes.
I think Omar touched on a great few things, yes, immigrant services that are there, plenty of them, who to choose. But at the end of the day, it is that network that you create that makes a difference.
Exactly. And Noha, what was your experience, and how did you find your professional network that we are talking about, that is very helpful in finding jobs or navigate your career?
Thank you for having me. I'm glad that to hear to all this mixture of Arabs. It's very interesting, actually. And I can't agree more. Networking is the best thing you do. Like, my journey started, I have been here in Canada for almost 4 years, but my journey started 6 years before coming, like 6 years back. Like, I started to study, listening to more than organizations through YouTube channels, watching too many successful stories, which they are obviously recent, because here in Canada, as Jad mentioned, we are expanding as a community. We are expanding a lot. Like, I can remember when I settled here in New Brunswick, St. John, like, there were only like a few number of families, Arab families, compared to now. Like, it's big expansion, big exposure. And like, I can remember that we were like the third family to settle in St. John, and that was a great thing. But it has advantage and disadvantage at the same time.
Exactly.
Like it didn't have the chance to speak Arabic and Egyptian language, as Roba said here. It was like difficult for a little bit, but like that gives us a chance to integrate and start to network with many Canadians, to start to know their culture, how they think. And I can found, like, as Jad said, like, the culture barrier is the most important thing facing the children, especially here, as this is my career working with the children and family partnership. So
Yes.
It's very challenging for children to raise them in a different culture. What's, as a Muslim community, what's good for them, what we can take, and how to teach them, and how to help them reach a safe identity, self-identity, with the increasing number of challenges and how that will affect them. So it's a long journey, but I'm glad that I came here. The network is very, very, very helpful here in New Brunswick as a small province. Even Jad never mentioned us there, the Atlantic province. You missed us, but it's a good place, full of nature places, and networking is, as Omar said, like, it's a very important thing. Like, I made my mind to change my career from engineering to early childhood education and counseling, and I'm working now to do my master's in counseling I can say in a couple of months, because I found there's a big need for that culture barrier to be
Yes.
diminished and start to integrate more.
Yeah, we'll talk about the barriers, and it's said you were saying that some of things are in your favor, and some are not. So I think one thing that is in favor of to all of us is that you are establishing a Arab community there in St. John. So that's a good part.
Now we have plenty of families. Like now we can speak Arabic. We teach Canadians how to speak Arabic and Egyptian language now. So
yeah, you are creating jobs as well over there. So that's a good thing. So Ibtisam, again, welcome you. And as you are an IT professional, so how did you find your network here? Because IT sector in Canada is very huge, very vast. So how did you find your network, and what was your journey? I think there is some issue with the sound. Okay.
I am in mute.
Okay.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this meeting to share my experience. You are right, IT field here in Canada is very huge. There is a lot of competitions from different communities. So my journey was, first of all, when I came here into Canada, I didn't know anybody. So what I did is start looking for immigrant association services, then volunteer. So from that, I learned that there is so many programs that immigrants can integrate with, like especially for people who have like education background. They have like degrees or in specific field. So I started by one program where they try to integrate you into the society and provide you a practicum in your field. This was very, very good program. It's called Links to Success in one of the organization in Calgary called SIWA. This is where I start. So after having my first practicum, I start looking for job in IT with my degree. But the problem is, I was like, when I came to Canada, I was a new graduate, like I didn't have any experience back home. So I have like difficulty to find a relevant job that is related to my degree, because I have master's degree in computer in telecommunication back home. But when I came here, it was hard for me to find a relevant position that reliable to my degree. So I started by an entry-level position in IT, IT analyst, desktop, customer service representative in IT, so those kind of things. After that, I decided to go back to school, to university. I did again another master's degree in computer science. This is where after that I find my career and my path. So it was a combination of networking, enrolling in a immigrant program, and then also education.
Wonderful. And again, I would ask all our audience who have joined us through Zoom or YouTube, send us your questions. After the first round of this introduction, feel free to ask questions or add anything that you want to add. And I will start with one biggest barrier. So Dalia, the biggest barrier that usually the different communities coming to Canada is the language barrier. So how did you overcome that language barrier, and what would you suggest to all the immigrants who are coming to Canada or already there, but having struggling with this barrier of the language, like from speaking Arabic to switching to English?
For me, it wasn't an issue at all because I was in a French school. So I was literally taught French and English since I was at grade 1 at school. So I moved to Montreal. I immigrated to Montreal. I came to Montreal first as a student, and then I became an immigrant. So for me, it wasn't an issue at all. But to advise people who are planning to immigrate, I would love that every person, the immigration process takes few years until it's finalized. So I would love that people work on their language, work on their skill set, on their communication skills, emotional intelligence, read a little bit about where they're going to settle, what is the culture, so that when they move into Canada, they are not faced with the challenge and they are not as well going to bubble themselves and just imagine that they are going to be raising their family and pursuing their thought and belief system exactly like it was home. There has to be a shift in the skill set. And as Sam said, there has to be an opportunity for growth and learning and development. So I understand that there's lots of immigrants who wants to come and they no longer want to study, they no longer want to make an equivalence for their degree, but this would be the wrong mindset. If I'm sure that Jad would agree with me on this. The more that you are prepared before that you come, the more that you have knowledge. Like I basically chose to land in Montreal because I read as someone who was enrolled in a French school for 14 years, I was fascinated by the French culture, and I didn't want to go to Paris or to France. I wanted to go to Montreal. So I knew a lot about Montreal before coming. So it's very good that you would educate yourself. There is, I find, like as a counselor, I know that the LINK program for success is very good. I get to hear from my clients as well, very good programs that teach French, that teach English, while they actually take the kids in the daycare. So the government does have amazing program for success and amazing program for the language. My problem is that there is not enough program to teach people about how to deal with their children in Canada, how to do parenting in Canada, how to handle their marriage issue in Canada. So I do believe that there is more program that need to be included so that the portfolio would be much easier for the new immigrants coming.
Exactly. Omar, what is your take about that? And it is also very important to discuss this factor that if you are bilingual, if you're coming from Africa or Middle East, that there is a good niche that you are creating for being a bilingual. So how important is that? And if somebody is coming with that background, how to explore the opportunities if you are good at French also?
So I echo everything Dalia said. Getting prepared prior to moving and immigrating is really important to understand the community that they will be in, and what are the trends in the job market, and sharpen their skills and what have you to make sure that they are ready when they relocate. That includes the language proficiency as well. To address your point of being bilingual or multilingual, I think definitely it's a plus. But for the most part, I think it would be the need is for English and French, obviously in Canada being the most needed workforce or language, if I may use at the work in the job. So yeah, other than that, there is definitely some organizations that are interested in other languages, but for the most part, it would be making sure that they are sharpening their language skills and proficiency in English and French, I would say. And for the French speakers, definitely New Brunswick and Quebec are the top two provinces who are looking into French speakers, I would say.
Exactly. So Ruba, there is also a good amount of Arab community already here in Canada, and there are so many businesses owned by Arab community, Arab immigrants. And in the communication sector, there's always a need of translators or people who are good at speaking Arabic. So in that case, how to find those specific jobs if you want to pursue your career in your language, in your mother language or any other language? How do you see that, and what do you suggest?
Well, whether in all honesty, I think finding a job is finding a job in any sector, really. It's around you have to hit a few goals. You have to build that network that we spoke about. You have to look at the right places. Identify the right places is one thing, but then looking there and doing the due diligence there is a different thing. And then start pursuing those opportunities without being deterred. I think specifically when it comes to communications, when it comes to businesses and Arab businesses. At the end of the day, my preferred means to connect with anyone is LinkedIn. But we often make this mistake of thinking that any connection I make on LinkedIn is a hot lead. And just because I connected with you or we pressed that mutual button, it's like, we're good, you can refer me. No, it's about cultivating those relationships. It's about building that repertoire. So for any job, whether it is to do translation, interpretation, or there are plenty of websites out there to look for a job. If you're in the nonprofit sector, there are specific jobs, websites for that. If you're in engineering or trades or all of that, there are specific websites. But at the end of the day, you have to identify the roles that you have a chance to get first. Because sometimes, and I'm a little veering off the topic here, once we come from wherever we come from, we think that our experience, our resumes, they're good enough. They're going to open a million doors for us. And all I need to do is just send that in. And then people will come and honestly, I'd be shocked. I was shocked at the very beginning. Why aren't they calling me back? Why? I'm super qualified. But then you realize that, oh, there are a few things missing here and there. And there are steps to do before that. And we can go on and on about this for a long period of time, but really it goes down to creating those networks. And there are plenty of people around this virtual room, on LinkedIn, in all the associations that JAD has under their umbrella that people can connect with.
Exactly. Ittasam, very important point just Ruba mentioned. You should be willing to explore a lot of things and willing to switch from one field if you are coming having an experience coming from Middle East or Africa or anywhere in the world. And here in Canada, there's altogether a different job market. So what do you suggest for all the immigrants, how you can pursue your career here, and is it a good thing to navigate from different other resources and then go to your main field where you got experience?
Yeah, definitely. It's depend on the field. You have to study the market in Canada. What is demanding? So because sometimes you are coming from in education that is different from Canadian education, then you will be struggling to practice your skills and knowledge. But there is always stuff called transfer skills. Whatever you have from your background or whatever you have from your education, you can always apply it to the new position. So there is always solution. You cannot your previous experience will definitely help you to proceed here and then have a start. But as I mentioned, there is a field that it's better to keep it. For example, in my case, the IT field is for me something that I wouldn't think to change, because I know that I can work in different department, different field, different business. So some people they have they are doctor, or for example a geologist or lawyer. Those stuff is not similar to what Canadian provide in universities. So there has to be definitely return back to school or upgrade or whatever. So I hope I answer your question.
Yes, definitely. And my question, because not only employment is a big factor in settlement, but there are some other factors which Dr. Dalia also talked about. So Noha, what about the kids? Because when you are coming with your family, there's settlement regarding schools and everything, that is also very important. So what are the things that you can suggest people coming with children for all the settlement in terms of education and everything?
For me, being realistic. the parents need to be realistic about their expectations. They need to be transparent with their children. Of course, age relevant. Like I can't speak to a 4 years old as the same way I speak to a 10 years old. But being realistic and transparent with your children is the most important thing. Children can sense our frustration, and immigrating is a big step we take in our career, in our opportunity, in our future, and our family's future. So children can sense how frustrated the parents are, how sad they are when they get disappointed, when they can't find the perfect network. They hear and sense lots of conversations which happen. They can feel the frustrations, the stress, and that will make them back in their mind feeling like, I'm not qualified because my dad's not qualified, my mom is not qualified. I don't have my self-identity because they lost their self-identity. So being realistic, being transparent, speak frankly, age appropriately with the children that we came here, there's lots of chances, there's lots of obstacles which we need to tackle. Being clear with your strategy, how you will do that, and guide your children, because they will come at the same time. If they have a problem or they faced any kind of obstacles, they will come and discuss it as you did with them. So modeling and shaping, and Dalia knows what I'm speaking about, like parents need to model the way and shape their children's behavior, and that will make it easier for them to settle. Immigration is not only about moving, it's selling furniture, leaving toys, leaving beloved people. So it's a big emotional step, and parents need to be transparent.
Exactly. So Judd, one question that we were discussing about language barrier or culture barrier. So what are the resources that you can guide our audience about to get yourself familiarized with the barriers that you can face, potentially face while coming to Canada, or maybe if you're already got immigration, then in that case, like what are the resources that they can find?
For sure. So there's a lot of resources that run from really small grassroots community based to full on organizations. So some grassroots cultural efforts that I know of in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto area, is an initiative called Common Ground, and that's run by a few Syrian folks, but they welcome anyone who's Arab or Arabic speaking to come and just speak the language. Something that we all talked about here in the beginning was, how we come to Canada and we can't necessarily find our community in the beginning to speak Arabic or Arabic, but there are a lot of these efforts, and a lot of them are on Facebook. So you just go on Facebook and you search Arabs in Canada or something of that sort. You join these Facebook groups, and usually you can start finding that network that Ruba was talking about, and a lot of people were when it comes to like networking. But in terms of other organizations in the Toronto area, there's the Arab Canadian Community Center of Toronto, ACCT. All throughout the country, there's different settlement organizations that you can go to as newcomers, even on your first day here in Canada, and just say, hi, I'm new, I need resources. And you can talk to them in Arabic because they have Arabic speaking staff, and they will help you. Go to this language center, go to this area to take this course. Language services here, I think personally, the government needs to do better in offering more inclusive language services, but it is getting better for folks to learn English or French. So so I hope that answers your question.
Great. So my question to you is, if somebody is interested to establish a business, like want to be an entrepreneur, in that case, what would be your suggestion to all those who are who want to establish their businesses here in Canada? It means like if they have a community and they want to cater some of their specific needs, is it a good idea to start from that niche, or it can go beyond that?
Sorry, I didn't get. Are you asking me or?
Yes, Omar.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So yeah, the good news is that there are a lot of entrepreneurial hubs and incubators and accelerators, but also in every region there is a small business center that can that are offering a lot of supports and funding. And honestly, Canada is really welcoming to any entrepreneur who's willing to start their own business. It's a matter, I think, there is more supply of services and funding and what have you than there is demand for those. So that's not the hard part. I think again, what entrepreneurs have a lot of supports. I think that the issue is with the talents, and I really don't buy anymore listening to the conversation of there is no talent in Canada. There are a lot of talents in Canada. They are either unemployed or underemployed. And I think there are many many facets to this problem. And I think
how to explore all those things that you are mentioning, like how to get funding, if you have a good idea and a good skill that you can turn that into a business. So in that case, who to follow? What would be your suggestion?
As I mentioned, a simple Google search in the region, they would identify what's called the Small Business Center. And also there's the incubators and accelerators and hubs in every region. There is an abundance of those. It's as simple as Google search, I would say.
Great. Dr. Dalia, my question to you, all the aspects that you mentioned in the beginning, those are very important, because these are the things that usually immigrants who are coming to Canada or already here face these challenges a lot in terms of their mental state, or there are so many things. So what would be your suggestions, your tips for all the immigrants who are suffering from these things?
Well, immigration and moving to a new country is always going to be a stress associated in the preparation and settling. So technically, if we're speaking about a skill set, I would love that the new immigrants before coming, they actually learn about stress management. They learn about time management. We all know how time expectation and punctuality and your ability to deliver things on the results on time is a little bit different than other parts of the world, right? So the more that you have an awareness of this, the better it's going to be for you in settling. Another thing that I want to tackle that Noha actually emphasized on is actually being reasonable with the expectation on the children. So even before deciding to come to Canada or before landing in Canada, I think that every mom and dad should have a SWOT analysis to analyze the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats for their children so that they will be aware. So don't come to Canada and expect that Canada is going to be another country, for example, like Saudi Arabia. If you are in Canada, you're going to need to know about the Canadian culture, does it suit you or not? Are you willing to live here? Are you willing to bridge with people and interact with them or not? The other thing, like I get to see lots of suicidal cases in my clinic on a day-to-day basis just because the kids are frustrated from mathematics. Their parents are putting on them lots of demands in regarding to study. So this doesn't work here. It doesn't work here in Canada. The education system is completely different. So we really have one fundamental thing in psychology here, treating kids, connect before you correct. So I know that parents are going to come, they're going to be looking for jobs, but nevertheless, you don't want to divide the family. You don't want the marriage to grow apart, because if the marriage grow apart and we end up in marriage problem, then the whole family is going to be disturbed. Productivity at work will be less. Focus of the kids at school will be less. The kids are going to start to develop anger, fear. Sometimes people are going to feel, the parents are going to feel guilty about their kids and guilty about leaving the parents over there. So you really need to have a clear mindset. Why are you coming to Canada? Why Canada in particular? What are the challenges that you are going to face in Canada? And just be prepared with a plan. I always say the best plan with a pen and paper is really your best solution for your preparation. So if there are some courses you need to take, then do it. If there are some readings you need to do, then do it. If you need to come just for a trip to see the country before you move your business, your life, you sell your house, because you technically leave everything in your home and you just move here. So for you to return back, it's not that easy for so many people. And we always have the honeymoon phase when we move in the beginning, but then we start seeing the weather, we start seeing the challenges, we start seeing some bullying the kids are subjected to. So the more we are empowered with knowledge and education, and the more we know resources, where do we go to should we have a problem, and the more we are open and willing not just to network but also to lean on people in the community and ask for help. Like, but if we are going to come with the mindset that mental health is a taboo and we have stigmas, and no, we have to keep trying, you could be trying and trying and trying in the wrong direction and it's not working for you. So it's better to share and ask and lean on other people and ask for their help and feedback. Read, educate, develop yourself. So really the human development is a huge shift really in Canada, because the more you work on improving your professional development and your development on areas such as parenting, marriage, etc., the more you are going to see a high payoff for that.
Perfect. So Ruba, there is a question from Habib from, he just sent us a question from YouTube. So he would like to ask how to communicate, because networking and communication is very important when you search a job or communicate with anybody else. If somebody is introvert, in that case, how to bridge that gap, how to overcome that thing?
Well, Habib, I am the biggest introvert on the face of the planet. Maybe if COVID did anything, it really gave me a great break from social interactions, unfortunately, and I am panicking a little bit that is ending. It's not easy. You will be asked, before COVID, people would tell me, go to this event and give them your business card, or take people's business cards and have a conversation. And out of 5 events I'm told to go to, I would go to one. And in that one event, I'll be the person in the corner, just drinking whatever juice or water, and can't wait to leave. I understand, but I would suggest, and what worked for me is that finding one person that you trust, or you can build a good relationship with, and then using that one person to bridge more relationships for you, and to support you, and to create connections, and be that buffer for you, where they introduce you to other people, but they're there, so you're feeling okay, and they can take over the conversation, and you feel supported, and all of that. But then from that, you will move forward one person at a time. I find that email works very well for me. I take my time writing my emails to connect with people, to articulate my ideas. And you will find that people also find that an easier way to communicate, because they don't have to get on a call. So it's just using your own strength and applying that to your advantage. You don't have to go out and network all the time and have small talk with everybody. You just have to identify what works for you and use it in the best way possible, and rely on the people that you trust.
Perfect. So there's a question from Nurhan Nader. So Ibtisam, the question is, as an immigrant that is moving into Canada, especially in brackets, Alberta, in the next few months, how can I know in which location are Arab located in each province or city?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How to know which part of that province have the Arab community located?
Yeah, I understand. So she would like to know where the Arab are located, right?
Yes.
They are
Is
located
any resource available from which you can find like where to move, because to find a job or to find a house, anything that is very important to know where your community exists, where your community is located.
So it depends on the community. Like, for example, Moroccan community are located mostly in like Quebec and Montreal because of the language, because we speak like, I am Moroccan, we speak like French better than English. and then the rest are like displayed like in, I mean, people who speak like English as a second language. They are located anywhere in Canada. So if she would like to know more about that, there is always social media like Facebook's groups. She can like connect and then ask on those, put questions on those groups, and then make sure people can answer her questions. And there is also LinkedIn. If she would like to look for a job, there is also Job Bank. There is a website called Job Bank. Like it's like a Canadian website where they can find job in their field. So it's always Google is your best friend.
Search is the best option to find out.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also social media now, it's
Social
beyond.
media. Yeah. They
So,
can find everything in Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, those social media application.
so Noha, in terms of networking communication, what was your strategy to connect with the community that you belong from, or any person who is having the same background that you have? So what is your suggestion to people, how to find, and what is the correct strategy to approach this?
For networking for work, LinkedIn is the best option for sure. Like, it's a professional option. You can search by job, you can search by opportunities on certain openings and certain organizations. But for networking as culture-wise, like I was glad to say that the Egyptians over here were like almost proactive. They welcomed us in the first day we reached. They sent us a transportation method to go home, and like they helped us a lot. And after a couple of 1 or 2 years, they established like the Egyptian Association in New Brunswick, and I'm glad to be part of that. Anyone who is willing to come to New Brunswick, I can be the link to connect them and network them to more than organizations, whether it's nonprofit or like from the government sector. So anyone is willing to come to the Atlantic New Brunswick, feel free to contact me anytime, and we will do.
There you go.
Same thing. I will pay forward as it happened with me.
Yeah. So as we are now coming to the conclusion of the session, so I would ask everybody if you can share one good tip for all the new immigrants from Arab community or who are planning to come to Canada. What would be your first top suggestion, top tip to follow? So we'll go with Dr. Dalia first.
I'd say you need to be clear with yourself first and clear with your identity, who you are, how do you see yourself, how you're going to present yourself to people. Because if we're going to speak about networking, you cannot really network unless you have that self-confidence deep inside and that high self-esteem deep inside, and you know clearly who you are. And in line with this, I would advise you need to be very clear with your values. What are your values in life? What do you value the most? And what are your priorities in life? So that would be just my tip for anybody coming. Be clear on their identity, be very clear on their values, and really be willing and able to network, rehearse their elevation speech, you know, and have that open spirit to get to meet people and learn, and know that it is not a hard journey, but it's a journey that's going to require from you time, energy, work, you know, dedication, determination, and sticking to the values in the professional system, because everything here is professional. There is lots of paper to fill, so you're going to need to be ready for this journey.
Great. So Umar, what was your key to success? If you can share that with our audience.
I think as Ruba and others mentioned, I'm also an introvert, but I've developed early on in my life the networking skill, and I think networking played a huge role in finding me and getting opportunities in my first 2 years in Canada. I just want to comment that I connected definitely with the Arab community, but one organization that really opened a lot of doors for me was the Professional Canadian Arab Network, or PCAN, as well. However, my comment is that not limiting ourselves only to our communities, and Canada is very, very diverse in the different communities, and is always welcoming those who are not only dealing with their own communities, but rather opening up and creating
Yes,
bridges
very
between
good
other
idea.
communities as well. So while it's important and on an emotional level to be surrounded by people who speak the same language, but I think it's important to open up to other communities as well.
Yes, very good idea. So Ruba, what is your key to success? And to achieve the success, it's important to give some time, but how to get the success by following one tip that you can share with us?
Well, you answered it. Giving time, it's patience. I think that it's very important that anyone who wants to immigrate to a new country is patient, and at the same time, you need to be kind to yourself. You need to give yourself some slack, cut yourself some slack. You're going to try, it's going to fail sometimes, you're going to succeed, but you need to be kind. You need to stop comparing with whatever you had back there. Focus, be patient, and be kind to yourself.
Great. So Ibtisam, your suggestion.
Yeah, so my suggestion is first of all, communication. So you have to have a very good communication skills to approach others, and also you have to be ambitious and passionate and passionate as well. You will face obstacles and then you will face a lot of issues, but you need to be very passionate. And then there is always like a good day and bad day. We have to, like Canadians say, oh, it's a bad day. So they don't take it, they take it easy because they know that it can be bad and sometimes it can be good. So as I mentioned, networking also is the key. So, and then you have to build the confidence on yourself that one day you will achieve what you would like to be.
Great. So Noha, your suggestion.
I can add like bat in your back. Like you did a great job. You are brave to take that step. Don't give up. Give time, as Roba said. Seek help, as Dalia said, because we need to be able to seek help. It's never a weakness to say like, I can't do it anymore and I need someone to support, learn, personal growth. Take every step you can have to develop yourself and your family.
Wonderful. Jad, as a individually or behalf of your organization, what would be your suggestion, key to success?
I love everyone's suggestions here about self-confidence and the communication skills and all of that. And just remind everyone, us Arabs, we're so talented. So when you come here, you're contributing to the Canadian society, and that's something you need to keep in mind. You and your children and your children's children, you're building a society here. But a technical skill that I would please advise everyone is whatever profession you have, whatever degree you have, whether it's engineering or medicine or law or any degree, just check what the regulation authority is in the province that you're going to be landing, just to see what you need to do. Do you need to pay a sum of money in order to do these qualification tests? Do you need to go back to school? Just so that you're prepared. Your immigration journey doesn't start when you land in Canada. It starts months and even years sometimes before. So just look into what are the regulation needs for your degree so that at least you can work in the same field as you are here if you want to do that. If you want to change careers, you want to start a new life, that's totally fine, of course, akid. But if you want to maintain the same career, just check online what you need to do when you come to Canada so that you're not surprised.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jad, Dr. Dalia, Omar, Ruba, Ibtisam, and Noha. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and sharing your journey and your keys to success. And I hope our audience would definitely get benefit out of all the suggestions, great suggestions that you have provided us during this session, and all the resources that you have mentioned already there on our website. And we keep on sharing all the resources as well. As you can see on your screen, CanadianArabInstitute.org. You can log on to this website. As Jad mentioned, there are so many resources available. Also, we are pcan.com is another great resource for you to get all the things, all the answers that you are looking for. And I hope that we answered most of your questions. And thank you everybody for joining us through Zoom or YouTube and sending us your questions. Hopefully we have answered all your questions, as this is Café New Canadians, and you can log on to our website, Café New Canadians. Also newcanadians.tv. You can subscribe to our newsletter, and you can find us all there on social media platforms. Either it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. So you can get all the resources, and you can find us on Omni TV, because we air every week a fresh episode over there, where we share the topics that is related to immigration, and for all the successful immigrants who are already here, we are featuring their stories as well. Thank you, everybody. Again, thank you, our panelists, for the amazing suggestions that you have provided us.